She's been an entrepreneur since elementary school.
I was always that one who showed up to school with a duffel bag selling juice and candy to classmates. I started out very young.
As a teenager, she brewed, bottled, and sold her grandfather's recipe for sweet tea out of the trunk of her car. And then one day she realized she had to do more.
I had to look fear in the face and said, never again will you sell tea from the trunk of your car. If you're going to sell it, it's got to be in a store.
And now, her product is sold in more than 800 stores nationwide. Naila Ellis Brown always had dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. She thought, as many do, that she first had to go to college to make those dreams come true.
But when she calculated how much debt she'd be in by the time she graduated, she quickly realized college wasn't maybe the best move. So she took a chance, and Ellis Island Tea was born.
I think he would be extremely proud.
Naila Ellis Brown never met her great-grandfather, Cyril Byron, but she knew everybody loved his Jamaican sweet tea.
My great-grandfather, who was a Jamaican immigrant, who came into America through Ellis Island, which is part of the reason we named it Ellis Island Tea. And the other part is my maiden name is Ellis, and we just felt it was meant to be, to call it Ellis Island Tea.
Her family would make the tea on holidays and special occasions with one specific directive from her great-grandfather.
Before he died, his instructions were for this recipe to be sold and not told, which means put it on the market.
Naila describes herself as always having an entrepreneurial spirit.
As I started out in elementary school, I went to Nataki Taliba, and they had this store called Taki Town, and they taught us entrepreneurship. And we had a little store in the closet, and you can only earn Taki dollars by good behavior. It wasn't real money, and I worked the store for the first time. I remember like yesterday, and I fell in love with that exchange.
That experience led Naila to sell chips and candy to her friends and eventually selling her grandfather's tea. But it wasn't easy, especially since the recipe was never written down.
The very first time I made it, it was absolutely horrible. The tea came out brown. It's a red tea. It was brown, it didn't taste good, and I made it every single day for an entire year.
In the early years, she bottled the tea in her mother's basement, selling it out of the trunk of her car in the parking lot of the Home Depot in Detroit.
I got kicked out about every other day. And when security would circle the lot, they would see me coming and know who it was when I was pulling in. And sometimes they would act like they didn't see me, and then sometimes they would kick me out.
But she soon realized that she needed to do more, and that more scared her to death.
I walked into my dream account at the time, which was Whole Foods, and said, what does it take to get my product on the shelf? And the guy was laughing at me, and he's like, you don't even have nutritional facts on this bottle. I used to tape like flyers to a bottle, and that was my label. I had to work with what I had.
It took Naila about a year to make it through the paperwork and learn the lingo of the beverage industry. And a couple of years after that, that dream account.
They asked to put me in all the Whole Foods in Michigan. And then from there, they asked me to be in the Midwest region. Michigan, Chicago, we're pretty much across the Midwest for Whole Foods.
Fast forward to today, and she manufactures Ellis Island Tea out of this 4,000 square foot facility in Detroit. The company has about 20 employees. Naila says there's no place she'd rather be.
You know what? I think being born and raised in Detroit played a huge role in that, because being from here, nothing is ever really handed to you. And to make it in Detroit, you kind of have to be resilient. And I think the city trained me to have that resilience and just go for it.
Yeah, it's that Detroit hustle that we talk about
that's
often.
right.
Yeah, so she's not just in Whole Foods, she's also in Meijer, Kroger, several airports, as well as Sam's Club too.
Oh, that's a big one.
Check it out. It's a huge one.
That's really great.
Yeah.
The whole idea of Jamaican sweet tea has got to be just sort of people go, oh, I got to give that a try.
Exactly.
It's really unique. That's really great.
We wish her well.
Yeah.